Hello, everyone. Yes, we are live again today. Thank you for joining us. So, guys, a whole lot is happening in Nigeria. And shockingly, there is this scandal that has to do with certificate forgery among the ministerial nominees of this present administration. So, guys, but before we go into that, we want to have a recap of what happened yesterday at the election tribunal. So, I'm going to be bringing in Dr. Etel to just take us through some of the takeaways from what happened yesterday in court. Doctor, please, you just have to come in at this point.
All right. Good day, people. Good evening, depending on where you are. We will really delve into these scandals today, but let's see what happened at the tribunal yesterday because it will feed into what we're about to discuss today. When we get to what is happening at the ministerial nominees, you will see that when the Labour Party is saying that someone who forged certificates should not be president, is because of a reason like this. If we allow this thing to happen, it will become endemic that will eat up the whole polity from local government level to the federal level. You're going to see age falsification, certificate forgery. So yesterday, I'm going to summarize everything that ended yesterday because as at yesterday, all the hearing, all the adoption of addresses, and the final addresses were done yesterday. The only thing we're waiting now is for the 5 justices of the appeal courts to give Nigerians, the petitioner and the respondent, the date on when they will deliver judgment. The only other thing you're going to be hearing will be more of explaining the details of their addresses. But let me do a recap of yesterday. Number one is that in their final closing argument yesterday, or speeches yesterday, when their addresses were adopted, the addresses are their written arguments on how everything that happened during the trials, they were able to formulate it in form of an argument as a document and submit. Those documents are what the judges will read. And as I said to us yesterday, the documents that they wrote, their addresses they wrote, the judges will pick it as their final argument, compare it with all the argument that was done during the trial period, and the judges will have 4 documents they will use as their marking scheme. The document number 1 is the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. There are cases that were raised in this trial that only the Constitution will interpret it. One of them has to do with certificate forgery. It's only the Constitution that will deal with it. Section 137, subsection 1J says that if you submit any forged certificate to INEC, you'll be disqualified. Section 137, subsection 1D says that if you have been involved in narcotics or money laundering, you will be disqualified. It's only the Constitution that they are relying on that. The Constitution also will determine the case of the FCT 25%. Furthermore, another document that the judges will be relying on will be 2022 Electoral Act. In the 2022 Electoral Act, there is a modification. The 2022 Electoral Act is a modification of 2010 Electoral Act. In that 2010 Electoral Act, there was no provision for electronic transmission. There was no provision for electronic transmission of results, nothing like IREV. And what it implies is that the only thing that makes Electoral Act 2023 to become an Electoral Act is the provision of IREV and the provision on how collation will be done. Collation completely changed based on 2023 22 Electoral Act. The another document they will be relying on is INEC Manual and Regulation and INEC guidelines. So That's what they will use. And so what were the issues raised yesterday? APC and their candidates teamed up together to say that INEC should be scored 90%, that they comply to the Electoral Act. No problem. The judges will compare the argument of the Labour Party and see whether indeed INEC complied with the Electoral Act. APC and their candidate also said that INEC followed the regulation, that the errors that may have happened were just something so infinitesimal. It's a mere upload problem that did not affect the election at all. The APC and their candidate also said that as long as you're a Nigerian citizen, you cannot be disqualified from becoming the president of Nigeria, even if you have the citizenship of another country. APC and their candidate also said that the problem that was the reason why the certified true copies of results given to Labour Party were blank and blurred was that INEC ink may have INEC printers may have run out of ink when they were printing, photocopying it. Okay, so that is it. And INEC on their own said that for the fact that IREV upload did not happen on the day of election is immaterial, that they did their collation with the physical result and that the law gives them that authority. So that was what they presented yesterday. But let's go back again to see how it syncs with the law and the act. Now, let's look at the issue of citizenship. The case that PDP and COPE presented with respect to citizenship has absolutely nothing to do with whether the candidate of APC had two nationalities. Now, you might be saying, why am I not talking Labour Party? We are talking about what happened yesterday. The whole thing were done together yesterday, and it is important you know. So the case is not whether the candidate of APC had dual nationality. The case was that when he filled his form, he said that he had only one nationality. So what PDP is pressing is not whether his rights to become a president had been denied for having dual citizenship. What they are pressing was that he lied under oath by saying no, where he's supposed to say yes. It is important that Nigerians know this. Secondly, APC and their candidate also said that Chicago State University provided records to prove that their candidate attended university. Well, the argument again is not whether he attended university. He may have attended university and even became the best graduating student. The argument is that the certificate he gave to INEC was not a photocopy of the certificate that the university have on their record. He may have attended. In fact, I'm joining the team of people who say he attended. He's the best student, no problem. But the certificate he presented is not a replica. Let me put it this way. Assuming I am here now where I am, and there is a job offer that I get to submit to a company, maybe Bank of America or Swiss Credit of the Swiss Bank or Bank of England. And they say that I must bring a certificate that shows that I graduated from the university. And I couldn't find it. And I can't find it, but I know I went to school. And I went online and generated a certificate and sent to them. That is forgery, but that did not deny the fact that I attended the university. The argument of PDP is not whether he attended or he did not attend. The argument is that the certificate tendered is not the certificate issued by the university. That handles that cases. And Section 137, subsection 1J has disqualified him on that note. Now, when Labour Party came to make their own final speech yesterday, San Levi Uzoku started by quoting the case of Oyetola versus Adeleke, where the Supreme Court said it verbatim that IREV is part of the electoral process now, based on 2022 Electoral Act, and that collation must be done with respect to what is on the IREV. That is what the Supreme Court said just this year, May this year. They relied on the Electoral Act. And Levi Uzoku went to challenge INEC and APC because they said that the glitch, the so-called glitch that happened on the election day, lasted for 4 hours. Nigerians, have you people heard it? That it lasted for 4 hours. But Levi challenged them and said it lasted for 4 hours, yet almost 4 months after the election, the results are still blurred and mutilated on the IREV. How can you reconcile 4 hours glitch that has affected us for 4 months? And now they say that the photocopy of the result given to them may be because of the toner that is not on the printer. Now, I showed us yesterday, a ream of paper is 500. 18,000. If you divide 18,000 by 500, it will give you about 176 packets of ream of papers. You printed all of them with empty ink, and you're just doing it, even though Labour Party paid them for those documents. Couldn't they call Xerox or call HP or call any printing company to supply them ink? Now, you can see that they don't have any case. That was how the case ended yesterday, and Labour Party closed their case on a very high note. There was a statement that was made with respect to the 10 years statute bar of offense with respect to the 460,000 for feature. Apparently, the lawyer to Labour Party, to APC, were trying to claim, Wole Olanipekun was saying that if you read section 137 of the Electoral Act, subsection D, that it is saying under a sentence, that there is no sentence on their candidate. Whereas that particular section says a person shall be disqualified from becoming a president if he is under a sentence of death imposed by any competent court of law or tribunal in Nigeria. That has to do with death penalty. Or, what does that mean when you say or a sentence of imprisonment or fine for any offense involving dishonesty or fraud by whatever name called or for any other offense. So I don't know how this man reads his own English, but he's a lawyer, he's a son, and thank God that Levi Uzoku is not just a lawyer. Many of them in the Labour Party team are professors of law who read all over the world. Now, they were arguing that it is subsection E that should apply. But you see, all the things listed in 137, section 137, subsection 1, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, any one of them can disqualify you. So the question here is that when Justice Samani was trying to tell the lawyer of the PDP that there is term limit for offenses, that Constitution provided term when offense can be cancelled, people are reading it in two ways, that the man is trying to exonerate the APC candidate. He may be reading it that way. Others may be reading it that he's just quoting law, and I agree that he's quoting law, because there is no sin that cannot be pardoned in Nigeria. A president can wake up and go on the 1st of October, go to any prison, or even a governor of a state, go to any prison and call someone who was a condemned criminal, who is condemned to die, and say, you are pardoned. Pardon happens in Nigeria. So when Justice Samani said it, I believe he's talking generally on the point of law, but I don't believe that he's saying that this particular crime committed here is one of those crimes that the Constitution imposed on us that we must forgive after 10 years. I want to end on that particular note. But let us remember that there is also another big case that is hanging on the neck of APC, and that is Allied People's Movement case. People don't talk about it, but it is even as strong as anything you can mention. Because when Masari, who used to be the person who was holding on for APC, withdrew his candidature, the law requires that APC must replace him within 14 days, but they failed to do it within 14 days. They did it within 21 days. That nullified even the nomination of the presidential candidate himself. Remember that even Labour Party had someone they put out so that they meet the deadline. And they also had the last date to withdraw the person. So, and that person was withdrawn, then Dati Ahmed was replaced. But APC failed to replace their own and it expired. So based on that, the APM case is a very big hammer. So the disqualification criteria that are in this court is APM case might disqualify APC candidates. The issue of Labour Party's 460,000 forfeiture may disqualify him. The issue of in PDP's university certificate forgery may disqualify him. That is 3. The issue of double nomination may disqualify. The issue of double dual citizenship that he did not declare may disqualify him. The issue of NYSC certificate that all of a sudden we are seeing Adekunle somewhere may disqualify him. And finally, the issue of Shetima's double nomination may disqualify him. So there are 6 grounds that could disqualify him. What we are asking is it possible that our court is going to knock all this ground and knock all 6 of them and give him a clean bill of health? We don't know. But all of them are very strong grounds. And then on the issue of election itself, is it substantial? Yes. The quantity of votes that Labour Party has identified to be either blood or mutilated that INEC themselves certified is greater than the difference between the one declared for APC and the one declared for PDP. And because that vote is greater, the law says the election should be cancelled. Thirdly, I wanted to say something else again. The FCT, finally, the FCT is still another constitutional matter. We have left the FCT. Argument have come from right to the left. Is and meaning we are looking for 25 states or 24 states out of the 25% of 24 states plus 25% in FCT. We will leave that for the court to determine. But one thing will happen is that whatever the Supreme Court finally agrees on will rewrite our constitution and make it the precedent going forward from now. So that is it. So far, I don't know if there's anything I am missing or you might want to point out or a question people have asked, and I'm happy to respond to that before we move forward.
Doctor, we just have to go straight to the other things that we have because we've got some videos that we want to analyze. So I think I will be starting with those videos. Let me play the first one. So guys, like you can see from the image we have here on the screen, it has to do with, scandal of certificate forgery. In this present administration, some of the nominees, the ministerial nominees that they've sent to Senate for screening, there's this discovery that some of them have certificate issues. So these are some of the things that we want to discuss because, we are still talking of the certificates of this present president, the one from Chicago and the NYC certificate that has a different name from the one that he submitted to INEC. So there are so many things. And then coming to see this happening, you know, during this screening is something that we really need to raise alarm about. So we don't have to just, you know, pay less attention to things like this. Otherwise, they will just keep, you know, continuing. So we want to look at some of these videos and then we'll also analyze them and see what we can take home from them.
Mukahil Adetokunbo Abiru, and I represent the good people of Lagos East. Professor, you know, first and foremost, I'd like to congratulate you on your nomination. And I also join my colleagues too in congratulating you as well. Now, my own question will be very simple, and it will have to do with your biodata. I just want clarifications around your biodata. Now, on the very first page, page 1, you said you were born on the 2nd of December 1980. Now, looking further down, you attended St. John's Primary School, Boko. You just wrote 1989. I'm wondering whether you finished primary school in 1989, which will suggest that you either started primary school at the age of 3 or 2 for you to finish in 1989. That's one. Two, you also claim that you went to SEPA Secondary School. You put 1995. That will also suggest, so I don't know with the band, whether it was 1989 to 1995. But what is also, what will appear a bit distorted for me, which I also need clarification for, is that given your academic excellence, you know, you graduated in 2004, meaning that, you know, you probably will have spent almost 9 years for your first degree. I just need you to clarify those data. I hope you understand, starting from primary school to why it took you that long to also get your first degree, despite the academic brilliance that you have exhibited. Thank you, Mr. President and my distinguished colleagues. Thank you.
In 1980, and you had your first school leaving certificate in 1989. That means that you, at the period you should have been in nursery school, at the age of 4 years, you were already in primary 1. You were already in primary 1. Which state was this? Well, so the nominee was born in 1980, and the nominee graduated with first school leaving certificate in 1989. So the nominee is exceptionally brilliant. The nominee was 3 years old when he started his primary education. And he proceeded to do...
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, looking at the resume that we have of Professor Joseph, I think ordinarily that the discrepancies that you find in the times enumerated here may necessarily have come from typographical errors, which Professor Joseph himself, which he can explain. So I want to say at this point, therefore, that records don't lie. Records don't lie. And if you look at what we have here about qualifications and the explanations he has given, I think we must be prepared to give him the benefit of doubt. And so,
Wow. 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 Wow.
Doc, I think I should play the other ones that we have so that we take all of them.
Please.
Okay.
Please. If we stop here, we are more than, and it's more than enough. Let me start. Around 1999 to 2003, when the current president was a governor in Lagos, this same kind of issue came up. It was the Lagos State Legislature, House of Assembly, that made this kind of statement benefit of the doubt and cleared him, saying that Senator Mamora, who was then a senator representing Lagos, was the person who filled his form and he must have made a mistake, a typographical error. What we are suffering today in our presidential election petition was a monster, a seed that Lagos State Legislature nurtured some, is it 24 years ago or 20 or 18 years ago? And this is how it starts. This same man is going to come tomorrow to be president, and we're going to start afresh again unless this thing is uprooted. Now, I have here what I've listed. This person apparently started primary school when he was 3 years because he was born in December 1980. And school starts in Nigeria, just like using the UK version. By September, any new term starts by September, isn't it? New terms start by September, which means he started his primary school. I can barely hear myself. I think I'm getting some echo. Is it okay now? Good. Which means he started primary school when he was 3 years. And remember that it was in the 31st of December, 1983, that Buhari took over government. There was a whole lot of ups and downs in our academic system then because he introduced school fees that made a shakings in our academic program. For those of you who were not born, I'm telling you now that I know then, okay? But the emphasis here is that he started when he was 3 years and finished his primary school at 1989. And then he started his university, his SSCE, his secondary school from 1990, came out 1995. At this time, Babangida was in power and they had started doing two-tier schooling. JS3 start from JS1 to JS3, and then SS1 to SS3. Secondary school then was 6 years. That's what people were doing then. Secondary school started doing 6 years from 1986. In fact, all the people who went to school in 1986 were from September to December were cancelled. They had to start afresh from January 1987. Go check the records. I remember all those things. And then, but all the same, all those things were all counting for him. He graduated 1995. And then from 1995 to 2003, just like they said here, all of a sudden, he had to spend 8-9 years, whether it was 8 or 9 years, to be able to get his bachelor's. This brilliant, smart guy spent 8-9 years to get his bachelor's degree. Fine. Then he served and finished his youth service in 2006 and did his MSc in University of Nigeria, Nsukka for 1 year. He did his MSc in University of Nigeria, Nsukka for 1 year. Postgraduate diploma is what I know that University of Nigeria, Nsukka can allow you to do for 1 year. I have not seen any master's degree program in University of Nigeria, Nsukka that lasts for 12 months. I passed through that school. I did a postgraduate program there. I did both a postgraduate diploma in University of Nigeria and I did MBA in University of Nigeria. But this student here was so excellent. The lecturers, the examiners, everywhere, supervisors were all waiting for him, that he finished all his coursework and finished all his project work and everything in 12 months. And immediately, because of his brilliance, he started his PhD and finished his PhD from University of Nigeria, Nsukka, within record time of 4 years. If I hadn't passed through that school, Even overseas, when you see people turn in their PhD within 3-4 years, you're clapping for them. With all the strike, with all the shakara of supervisors, external invigilators in PhD in Nigeria, he finished his in 4 years. And within that time till now, he's now a professor. So at 43 years, he's a full-fledged professor. When did he do his readership? When did he become associate professor? And he's been shut up to become a professor. No problem. I agree. But what I want to say is that, okay, play another video. Maybe we'll come back to that place. Play another video. It's so.
Colleagues,
would like you to go back to your academic qualification. I've been looking for your school cert. I saw one. You sat for 5 subjects with 2 credits. I don't know how. I want to imagine that you still have another to bring. If not, I would want you to explain how you got into university with that. Thank you.
The nominee.
Your Excellency, Mr. President of the Senate, principal officers of the Senate, distinguished senators, I would like to answer these questions from the last one, if the Senate permit. Sir, on the issue of qualification, I have other secondary school results which I have all passed that I have not attached to my CV, because we are talking of secondary school certificates. And I want to remind distinguished senator, which I know he very much know, that the qualifications of secondary school certificates, as enshrined in the Constitution, you can stand for an election up to the presidential election. So I didn't bother you with much certificates, but I know I have the qualification for that. Okay, sir.
You are saying that you chose what to give to the Senate. You chose the qualification to bring before the Senate because of the constitutional provision that a secondary school certificate is what is required to stand for election. You are not coming to stand for election. You are coming to be a minister of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. So which are the other certificates you concealed? Which are the other certificates that you did not put in your CV?
Your Excellency, sir, the certificate of secondary school is there, and other certificates of other qualifications are there. What he is asking me is, I sat, my first sitting was secondary school certificate with 2 credit passes. And what I'm trying to say is that I have sat for another examination and I have passed, but I don't want to attach another qualification because
Well, I think it's not just for this nominee. It's important for all other nominees to know that we would like to know something about them in totality, including the number of children they have. Yes, including the number. Yes, including the number of wives, the number of children. Nigerians have a right to know their ministers.
The international community has the right to know their ministers. So please, I don't think it's
Please, this is. Can you hear me, please? These things is making my stomach. Oh goodness me! What country have we found ourselves? Why are we so unlucky? Did you hear what he said? He said that he understands the fact that school cert, which is secondary school certificate, is a qualification you need, the minimum qualification you need to even aspire to become a president. And then he submitted one where he had only 2 credits. And they're wondering how he got into the university with 2 credits. This guy is a lawyer. This guy was a former deputy speaker. He's one of those people we call the swamp. He's been in the system in Sokoto State. This is the senator nominated from Sokoto State. Meanwhile, the other one we discussed, this is a ministerial nominee from Sokoto State. The previous one we discussed is a ministerial nominee from Benue State, who is a professor. A professor who did not know that he will sort himself and proofread his documents. How does he publish journals? A professor published journals, and we are taught as scholars to put our work out for proofreading. Let's come back to this man who is a lawyer. Now, can you imagine that this guy is a prosecutor or a defense lawyer defending your case? Does he sound like he knows what he's doing? You cannot put your best foot forward. You have other qualifications, but then, which you know that should qualify you to go to the university, you decided to put the one that disqualified you. And you're telling Nigerians that you chose not to do that. And you gave them reason again that you know that that level of certificate is what you need to be qualified to become a president. Why don't, even if you have written WAEC for 10 times, why don't you bring all of them and say, the other one I have 1 pass, the other one I have 1 pass. If you look at 10 of them, I have 1 credit, I have 10 credits. You put 1 and you come out here. This guy had been a commissioner. He had been a deputy speaker. He's been a member of House of Assembly. He has been doing this thing all his life. Thank God for Peter Obi. Thank God for that statement, go and verify. It is that go and verify that woke all of us up, and we are digging today. Unconsciously, even they themselves in APC and PDP, they're unconsciously verifying. That's why this thing is coming out. Now, let me ask this question, both to him and to the other guy that we finished talking about. Is it possible, you know, before they came here, they had gone through DSS screening. They have all gone through DSS screening. And all through that period, you could not see this typographical error that another senator from Benue State is telling us that it is a typographical error. You did not see the typographical error that says that you were born in 1980 and you have finished your primary school in 1989. You started from 3 years. And let me put this here. There is no way that man that came from Benue State would have been nominated without the current secretary to the government of the Federation not having a hand in it. And this current secretary to the government of Federation used to be a governor in Benue State. So you see how they are arranging it and surrounding themselves like birds of the same feather, flocking together. They want to saturate our polity with people who have either age falsification or certificate forgery, people who had gone to school before they were born, and people who had done their youth service even before, people who have gotten exemption certificate before the law was made. Nigeria, if we have these people as ministers, what are we looking forward to receiving? Do you have any other one, please? Because I know there are about five of them so far that are immersed in this kind
flock
of scandal.
together. There's another one. Show me your friends and I will tell you the kind of person you are. Going by the ministerial nominees, it is obvious the kind of person Tinubu is, the kind of people that are his associates, and the kind of people he prefers to work with. One of the ministerial nominees, this lady, Stella Okotete, was accused at the time she was appointed to the Exim Bank board. Many accusations from falsification of documents to monumental fraud. But she's not the focus of this video. The focus is on Danladi, who was disqualified by the Supreme Court in 2019 for certificate forgery and lying under oath. Yes, the same Supreme Court saved him when he was impeached by the Taraba House of Assembly as the deputy governor of Taraba State. They returned him as the deputy governor and he became the acting governor in the absence of the governor, who, of course, he had an accident. So it shows that the law is actually no respecter of persons, that if you are in the wrong, the law will catch up with you. But if you are in the right, you will be spared by the same law and, of course, the justices. In Danladi's case, he forged a certificate and lied about his age under oath. And when he appealed to the Supreme Court, the honorable justices that heard the appeal included the current Chief Justice of Nigeria. It was a unanimous judgment. They sacked him, said that the appeal lacked merit, and they declared that APC had no governorship candidate in Taraba State in 2019. As a result of that judgment, the Taraba State government moved to gazette the judgment so that the consequences will take effect, meaning that Danladi would be banned from contesting for any position for 10 years, starting from the date of the gazette. It's not clear if the Taraba State government eventually raised a white paper which would have banned Danladi from contesting any election for the next 10 years. Also, it's not clear if they charged him for perjury, because since the Supreme Court already held that he lied under oath and falsified his age, that's perjury.
Okay, that's fine. Now, how many have we listed now? The case of this lady was mentioned in this video. We have listed 4 now, isn't it? Taraba State Ministerial Nominee, Sokoto State Ministerial Nominee, Benue State Ministerial Nominee, and potentially here, I think Delta State Ministerial Nominee. 4 so far. But what caught my attention when he was talking about Danladi is the fact that it's because these people are allowed to go scot-free. That's why they keep coming back. And it is because the law seems to be made for the poor. That is why it doesn't bother them. They look us in the face and they tell us, go to court. And they don't care. They will still force their way through the way they want it. This man was a deputy governor. And after being a deputy governor, he came back to contest governorship, which means all the while he was a deputy governor, he had a forged certificate. And then he was caught, probably by the PDP members in 2019, who used to hobnob with them, because when he was the deputy governor, he was in PDP. The people who knew he had forged certificate now exposed him, and he lost. APC lost their slot in 2019. Now, based on the Gazette of the Taraba State, this man is not supposed to be given any position. This is with respect to Section 137 1D we are talking about. But we can see that starting from the presidency down to the lowest level, they are telling us, we don't care about you people. Your law can say another thing, and that law is for us who are nobodies in their eyes, because they could look the law in the face and see go ahead. The case of this woman, the other woman, the Okutete woman from Delta State, it was December 2022 that case was filed. In fact, they said there's a lot of loans, the kind of insider trading with the Exim Bank, with falsification of certificate and co. So the question I'm asking is, why is APC interested in nominating people who have issues with forgery, either with their names or with their age or with their certificate? Do they want to make it the culture of our government? Or is it a case of, if I am like that, let all of us be like that, so that If all of us are going to fall, everybody will fall. I don't know, Nigerians. I think we need psychologists to explain to us what is happening here. This is beyond my remit. Okay, this is another one. This is the fifth one. From which state is this one, please? I don't know. Do you know where the state he came from? I don't know. But I have some kind of dossier on this person too, because I'd researched this person. And an interesting thing is happening about this Tunji Ojo. This Tunji Ojo is supposed to have graduated in 2005 from North London University. He's supposed to have graduated in 2005. Now, at that 2005, he was supposed to be 24 years, please. Based on the mandatory requirement that you must do your NYSC, he didn't come to do his NYSC. And now he has a certificate, NYSC discharge certificate, showing that he was given NYSC discharge certificate, not exemption letter. When? In 2019. November 2020. That he was given NYSC discharge certificate in November 2020. Okay, let's do the maths now for you to see what we are saying. At 24 years in 2005, if you do 2019, when he started serving, minus 2005, it will give you 14 years. Or if you do 2020 minus 2005, when he finished his youth service, according to him, it will give you 15 years. If you take 15 years and add it to 24 years, that will be 39 years. Is it not true? Now, if he is 39 years, there is no way he could be serving at 39 years. That's number one. And there is no way he can even qualify to receive exemption later because he graduated before he was 30. The law says you must serve if you graduated before you're 30, unless you're in this area soldier or you have a national honor ticket. So if you graduate after 30 years, you get exemption later. But this man is trying to tell us that at 39 years, he served in Nigeria and received NYSC discharge certificate. And this same person was elected into the House of Representatives in 2019. And the funny thing is that the same time he is claimed to have been serving, he was also at the National Assembly as a lawmaker. Just like what is happening in Enugu State, where the person who claimed to be serving in 2003 was in Enugu State Government House as the Chief of Staff, and he's supposed to be serving in Lagos. Nigerians, are we going to let this to continue? Nigerians, are we going to let this to continue? Why are we slaves in our own country? Why have we allowed these people who are acting? I don't know, I'm looking for the right word. I hope YouTube is not going to strike us by using the word scavengers. They act like scavengers. They're just scavenging on our resources. And let me ask you a question. If you have this kind of characters as your ministers, what will be the face of Nigeria if, God forbid, this government continues till 2027? Are we ever going to have even anything left? 5 so far. 5 so far. More may still be coming. I don't even know what to say. It makes people who have labored in Nigeria. Okay, let me put it this way. Are there no other decent APC credible people they could pick from these states? Must they pick people with burdens of must they pick these people with people who don't have credible, virtuous background? Are there no other clean APC member from Sokoto, from Benue, from Delta, from Taraba? And I don't know the state this person is coming from. Why? So this is what we are getting. So all the promises of billions, they were dishing out during the presidential broadcast day before yesterday. So these are the people who will be executing it. Hey. Oh my goodness, one chance. Nigeria is getting one chance executive. So you will carry 250 billion and give to these people. These people. Okay.
Honestly, Nigeria is just a place where, there's no reward for hard work. There's no reward for hard work. That's why we have the wrong people in politics. And this is what Mr. Peter Obi keeps talking about. We have the wrong people that are just desperate to grab power just because of the monetary benefits that they will get. You see, when it's time to go to school, graduate, do the right things. Just like Mr. Peter Obi will always say that if you want to be an excellence, let the process of getting to that level, to that stage, let it be excellent. But our politicians, they don't want to hear that. They just want to rush it. Can you imagine these people forging certificates? All these things. I don't even know if their children should grow up, for those of them that still have children that are tender, and they see all these things online. It's not supposed to be, honestly. It's not supposed to be. And such a thing keeps happening in Nigeria. And with the present government, we don't even think if they're interested in stopping all these kind of scenarios playing out again in the future.
I'm sorry if I might interrupt you. I've just found it. He's from Ondo State. So this is the ministerial nominee from Ondo State. Now, they told us, forgive me, they told us that Ondo State and Ekiti State parades the highest number of scholars in Nigeria, professors. Ondo State and Ekiti State. And all we could get from Ondo State as a ministerial nominee is this double characters. Can you believe that? Can you believe that?
Or is there any special thing in his CV that has made them to say, oh, we don't want to lose this person. We want him at all costs. I can't really say, honestly.
What could be special in his CV? What could be special? I can bet you this CV, these are the people. I'm sorry to say that, but if you had listened to the other guy from Sokoto State in full, I listened to his video in full, he was saying, I am a party man. He was in charge of the mobilization of youth for the APC presidential campaign in Sokoto. Okay. So they are rewarding him for whatever they did to make sure that Labour Party's vote did not count. It's a reward. It's a rent system. You see him. That's it. It's all about what did you contribute to foistering themselves on us. So it's like Nigeria is a conquered territory. They have conquered us and they are now plundering. That is it. We are their spoil of war. Nigeria is their spoil of war. That is it. They don't even care. And these people pass DSS screening. All of us, all of them, pass DSS screening. And DSS could not spot it. And the same DSS came to Enugu State to say that they investigated, that the governor of Enugu State, that NYSC that said they did not issue the certificates, that NYSC told a lie. DSS is telling the Governorship Election Tribunal, DSS telling Governorship Election Tribunal that the certificate NYSC said they did not issue, that NYSC issued it. That is the DSS we have. All these people passed DSS screening. Before you appear before the Senate, you must have gone through DSS screening. And look at their CVs. They are stinking. They are infected. And this infection is what they want to unleash on Nigerians. With all the problem we already have, they still want to unleash these characters on us. Look, if you know how to pray, start praying for Nigeria. Nigeria has passed the stage of scientific, logical modeling. We need intervention. We need intervention.
Wow, Doctor, thank you so much for the analysis you've made. Honestly, this government must just step down for the right people to take over, because Nigeria must move forward. Nigeria must progress. We just want Nigeria to take its place in Africa, and even among the international communities, Nigeria should stand out. We've struggled in a lot, and I think enough is enough at this point. So just like from the analysis you made when we started, you talked about the election tribunal and what transpired yesterday. So guys, we all know that the adoption of the addresses have taken place, and now we are waiting for them to give us a date for the judgment. So the judgment day is very close, although we don't know the exact day. They said they will be communicating to the Nigerian people, and we can't wait for that day to come, because we just want them to do the right thing. So like we said yesterday, let's just keep praying. Everybody should be praying so that God will touch our judges. Nigeria is a place that people have, I would like to call it, I don't know, they don't have feeling. Even when they see ordinary Nigerians suffering, they don't have that empathy. That's the way I see it. Because some people will tell you that they've been bribed, that you know how much they've been giving and all that, that there is no way they will not be influenced. So this is where we are. We just have to pray and believe God that our judges, especially the presiding judge, that they will not look back. They will dispense justice without knowing who is at the head, who is sitting in Aso Rock. They will do the right thing. So that's just it. We just have to pray, because in Nigeria, anything can happen. We all know that Mr. Peter Obi and his legal team, they've done an extraordinary work. They've done their best. But Nigeria is a place that, things don't follow the right course. Anything can happen. And that's why we just have to believe in God and keep calling upon God. He should just look down and look at the masses who are suffering. Go to the hospital. Some people can't even go home because they can't afford their bills. And then we have people in the National Assembly that are going for bulletproof vehicles. That's the stage we are in Nigeria. Things must change. Look at our schools. Most of them are in bad shape, especially when you go to villages. You go and see the schools there. Some of them don't have seats where the students will sit, especially primary school. But some of these are leaders. Their children are not even in Nigeria. So it does not bother them. It doesn't touch them. If ASU goes on strike numerous times, I don't even think they feel the pinch at all, because their wards, their children are not in Nigeria. And I want to say a very big thank you to Nigerian youths. Honestly, when you go to Twitter, they are always there. Sometimes you wonder if they even sleep, if they even rest. They are always there, calling on the judiciary, calling on, our judges, telling them to do the needful, to do the right thing. And that is what we'll continue to do. We must remind them that our future is equally important, and they should do the right thing so that Nigeria can survive. So guys, I want to say a very big thank you for joining us tonight. Please do well to subscribe to this channel. Give this video a like so that YouTube can suggest it to others. And don't forget to join us tomorrow again. We'll be here live to discuss what is happening in Nigeria. Gloria, I want to say thank you for your presence too. Doctor, as usual, and as always, a very big thank you for giving us this beautiful analysis. Thank you very much, and good night to you all. See you again
Thank you.
tomorrow. Bye.
All right. Okay. Thanks. Good night. Bye.